For the Paris 2024 Olympics, Taiwan will be sending 60 athletes competing in 16 sports. Welcome to Didn't Make the Cut. My name is Eric Tai, and today I'm joined by Leslie Liao and Sandy Chi, our sports reporters who've been covering the Olympic athletes as they prepare for Paris. Welcome.
What's up, Eric?
Hi.
With these 60 athletes heading over, how are we looking?
Last time we sent about 68. This year we're sending less people over, and that's obviously going to affect our chances. But we also have medalists who medaled last time that are going this year. You have the badminton duo Wang Qiling and Liao, they're going to go. You have Taiwan star weightlifter Guo Xingcun. You also have Yang Yongwei, the judoka from Central Taiwan. He got a silver medal last time. He's gunning for gold. His ranking in his weight class is still first in the world. So Taiwan's looking promising. You also never want to write off some of the other athletes who might be there for the first time or didn't medal before, because last year we had a lot of breakout stars who won bronze medals. You had Chen Wenhui, you had Huang Xiaowen, the boxer. They all medaled, and they pretty much came out of nowhere. Actually, the gold medalists last time, the ones that I mentioned just now, Wang Qiling, the badminton duo, they were the first unseeded men's pair in Olympic history to go all the way to gold. So Taiwan definitely is going to win medals. Last time we had our best Olympic performance, 12 medals, 2 gold, 4 silver, 6 bronze. Who knows? We might have another breakout performance. The government's putting more and more resources into the sports, and Taiwan's looking good.
We're looking at like the performances in the past and the present. You know, how are the athletes preparing for it? Like, you know, mentally, how are they, you know, off camera, on camera is usually two different kinds of people.
Yeah, I spoke to a few, and I would say among them would be Chia-ling. On camera, she's like the sweetest little girl, and then even talking to her, she's like charming. She has her nails done. She cares a lot about her appearance. She's very cute. But when she's training, she's a badass. I will never want to mess with her. And like during the press conferences, she was so nervous before talking, right?
Yeah, she was really nervous. So we went to the media day, and all the reporters were around her, and then it was just her in the center, and everybody has their cameras on her. And before that, she was just like, I'm really nervous.
我跟你讲说，我刚才在外面看那个鞋子的时候，哇塞，今天是走那么多人，然后对，然后我现在还在流汗，我热身都没有那么多汗。
And I'm just thinking, you can kick anybody's head off. Like anybody here, you can kick their head right off. Why are you nervous?
This is such short time to perform. You know, maybe 1 Olympic if you're there, 2 Olympics, 3 is like really pushing it, right? It's less heard of. But it seems like also that because of that, does the pressure start mounting up? I mean, a lot of the athletes that we profiled, injury has been a big part of their story. Granted, I'm sure injury for a lot of athletes is a common thing, but is it more common amongst some of the athletes because of maybe pressure, or is it like, where does that come from?
Well, sometimes it really depends. For example, we have Fang Wan-ling, who is a weightlifter. Her weightlifting career was basically flying when she was younger, and like at the age of 18, before her first Asian Games, she happened to have a scooter accident. And it was so bad that it might have really kind of like sabotaged her whole career. But the thing is, she didn't want to give up.
之前妈妈生病，对，然后是因为她太辛苦，然后那个时候非常自责啦，就是那时候其实因为资源没那么多嘛，所以我那时候又有点想要放弃，是因为我没有钱可以就是去负担妈妈的一些就是在住院所需要的开销，所以那时候我会觉得直接出去工作比较划算，就是挣到钱比较多啦，比较稳定，所以那时候真的蛮难过的。
Because she tried so hard, and also for her it's very important to continue in the sports since she can financially support her mother because she's from a single family. So basically she continued training, but you know, you get injured, you still train, you don't rest that well, it gets worse. Yeah, but then she still decided to continue and see what she can do. And so this time will be her 2nd Olympics. Last time she got 4th place in her division, and this time she hopes to do better.
You also have Tang Chia-hong. Some of these athletes, they're just so driven. That gymnast I was talking about, Tang Chia-hong, who does on the horizontal bars, before he got to college, he had 3 elbow surgeries. Yeah, and there was also he was preparing for a competition once, and he tore his ACL, his knee ligament. ACLs usually take about a year to fully heal. He was training back at 6 months after he tore his knee. And when you watch them perform their routines, especially with the horizontal bar, the way he swings around, he has to jump up and then grab the bar again. That impact, just looking at him, I could like feel my shoulder dislocate. So they're under a lot of high intensity, pressure physically, but at the same time, sometimes their drive is just like, wow. To get back up on your knee 6 months after tearing it off, it takes a certain personality to do that.
Speaking of like Tang Chia-hong, when we were watching your piece, he had something special because of his injury. He had to train not landing on his feet, where most gymnasts try to land on their feet. He ended up just belly flopping every single time. Yeah, I mean that was painful just to watch. Like, did you talk to him about like how did that feel? Like, it's gotta hurt, right?
I think it would be insulting to ask him how it felt because the sound was very telling.
Was his chest red by the end
It
of
was
the
red.
day?
Like his face was red. It was just, and he would just fall, and the height was at least like 3 or 4 meters, and just bam, he just slammed down. And I wanted to be like sensitive, so I asked his coach. I was like, "Is that to save his knees?" They're like, "Yeah, that's what to do."
Some of these athletes were at the National Sports Training Facility. Some of them were done more locally at their gym or the places where they're training. Aren't technically all of them the national team? Like, what's the difference here?
Well, some of them just basically train full-time. So among the athletes is Antonio Chen Yi-tong, who is actually also a graphic student and a fencer. So the thing is, he has to study, and he's located in the US. He studies it, he trains it, and he just came back to Taiwan recently, and he'll head straight to Paris later on. So he doesn't really train at the National Sports Training Center.
Is it different, like talking to him versus all the other ones, like not being a full-time athlete, I wouldn't say easier, but like, how different is it?
I would say it's pretty different, and I think Chen Yi-tong's situation is special because a lot of athletes, they have financial difficulties, so they have to like compete and train a lot. But Chen Yi-tong, I feel like his parents are supporting him very well. His problem was mainly time management because he's a student, right? Studying.
We've all been there. Time management as a 20-something.
Assignments and everything. So he basically has to manage his time training and then also studying. I would say compared with others, he has to manage his time a lot.
Were there other part-time athletes that you guys met?
We met a part-time coach, Fang Wan-ling's coach. She's a PE teacher at a middle school. And
Was that the middle school that you guys shot her training?
yeah, at Tainan. And we were just saying, why, right? You can be a full-time Olympic coach, but she teaches at the middle school where she graduated. So for her, it was kind of like a going home thing. At the same time, it could be, you're more comfortable with the equipment there, you're more comfortable with the environment. So it really comes down to being comfortable where you are. Also, you got to realize the National Sports Training Center is in Taiwan South, it's in Kaohsiung. And a lot of these coaches and these athletes, they maybe live somewhere else. Maybe in the East Coast, you have Tang Chia-hong, he's also still a student in Taipei. So these are all factors that go in. Not to say, I think as we get closer to the Olympics, there is a general order for them to go back to the sports training center and stay there and live there. But some athletes will just be like, no, I'm comfortable where I am.
We're talking about Fang Wan-ling and her training in Tainan, right? And it was a very different situation. The video itself the report itself was really different. Having the middle school students training next to an Olympian right there, it was a little different. But at the same time, during the same interview, Fang Wan-ling was talking about, as you mentioned before, the financial need to compete. It was a thing that she wanted to be a dancer, and she had to kind of give up that dream to continue competing. And then we also had the Olympic boxer who was also had to compete, for financial reasons. Is this a common thing? And especially knowing both of them are from indigenous Taiwanese tribes, is this a common thing that you guys saw going across the board?
I would say so. Particularly the boxer, because I interviewed him. Liao almost had to give up boxing because he wanted to go take the exam to become a civil servant of some sort because it was more stable. Single parent household. A lot of these families we hear is single parent household.
他其实刚读大学，其实生活过得会比较辛苦，因为我们原本的家境其实就没有这么好。对，那家里其实都是要省吃俭用，因为要供我读书嘛，还有我的生活费啊什么的。所以在那时候读大学就会比较辛苦。那幸好就是在我大2的时候的国手选拔，然后才有因此有机会可以进来到国训中心做训练，然后国训中心的生活，也会有一些薪水的补贴这样，然后我们也不会有生活上的担忧，就是中心会有让我们3餐都有饭吃这样，所以减轻了很多家里的负担。
And the economic strain is great, but to get to sports is interesting because it can be a way out, but to let it become a feasible financial relief is a difficult path. And the government does give support, but at the same time you have to hit a certain level of aptitude within your own sport before they can give you that support. So to work your way there, it really is a gamble. And it's not just Olympians, right? Baseball players in Taiwan, a lot of them are indigenous, come from indigenous communities. And I think Ling Zi's son, I forget his indigenous name, but he actually holds baseball camps in eastern Taiwan because he said, this was my way out of a hard way. And he's saying, I want to do the same for my community as well.
我来光华杯，我要的只是看到他们的笑容，或者是他们在比赛的认真的态度，或者输球很自然的流眼泪。我觉得就像以前的，我只是想要找到我这样子，然后到了明年我再继续努力，有一些初衷，有一些动力让我再继续努力。为了这些小朋友，我要继续努力。
Sports is a viable way. It's just for every one success story we see, I think there may be 15 to 20 stories that we don't see. Yeah.
Talking about like the support that the government helps with these athletes, whether it's Olympians or just across the board, can you guys shed a little bit more light as to like what that system kind of is? Is there like a common salary? What kind of bars are we trying to hit?
There is a certain criteria that you have to meet. In Taiwan, it's called 黄金计划, so it's a golden plan. And the other day, President Liao was talking about doing 黄金计划 3.0, which is 3.0.
我相信未来应该还会有黄金计划 3.0 啊。换句话说呢，我们的国手这么努力的站上国际舞台，绝对不能孤单。国家要做这些运动选手的后盾，让他们有更好的机会。
I've spoken to the coaches, and they say that it's kind of stringent to get in, and a lot of them have lost their 黄金计划.
What do you mean by lost? Like
they were disqualified, so they had to move out of the National Sports Training Center. They couldn't get the subsidies that usually national Olympians would be entitled to. So that gave them a hard time. That definitely gave them a hard time. You need to have a very thorough plan. I believe it's a 3-year, 5-year plan, and you have to say we want to rank this high in the world, or we want to win this many competitions. We need to qualify for this many major, games. It's all very, very meticulous. I imagine it puts a lot of strain to say I only not need to make it, but I also have to maintain it. It's like a scholarship. Right? It's like a scholarship. So. There have been things that have been said about that plan, but lucky for the athletes, Lai Ching-de is a sports fan, so there has been talk about him. Taiwan only has a sports administration so far. He wants to upgrade it to a sports ministry.
不必客气，把奖牌带回来就对了。
A lot of these athletes, they're going back for a second, third time. Taiwan has a table tennis player. His name is Zhuang Ziyuan. This is going to be his 6th Olympics.
他怎么看起来越来越年轻？
客套话。
没有，发型，真的啦，真的。
That's an astounding number of Olympics to go to, first of all. We also see that there's a changing of the guard with the athletes right now. A lot of the athletes that we see going to Paris this time went to Tokyo, and they may have gone to Rio before that. And a lot of the times they're talking about, well, usually athletes from countries, they maybe do 1 or 2 Olympics max before, the country switches them out for someone who might be younger. But a lot now we have these athletes who are going to the 3rd Olympics, and they're a little older, they're veterans, they have experience, but sometimes age is undefeated. In sports we say father time is undefeated because age will always catch up to these athletes. So that's one thing that they're also considering. You're hearing a lot about retirements before this, after these Olympics, right? Taizing said this is going to be your last year. Liao, that badminton duo, he already said he's going to retire. He's 29. I mean, I'm 34. Like, I'm nowhere near thinking about retirement.
时候到了，该给年轻人一些机会。我觉得也29岁也打得蛮好，也比原本18岁可能那时候打不上来要退役的时候，我觉得也多打了11年。我觉得对我来讲已经算蛮不错的。
But that just goes to show just the longevity of the careers for athletes is very short. And especially for an international competition like this, the turnover rate is very, very high. So Taiwan's also thinking about that as well.
Olympics are happening soon. I don't know when this video is going to come out, but it will be before the Olympics. Who are you guys keeping an eye out for, and why?
For me, I would say definitely Yang Yongwei, because
he's good looking.
Well, I have to agree with that as well, but he's not my type. Anyway, so the thing is because he's the top athlete in the world in his division. And I would say his attitude, he's still humble, he still trains really hard, and then he cares about his own situation. Like, he has to be in the game, he has to really understand everything. And then for him, it's like, even if he loses, it's a process. He'll continue to thrive and then do what he can do best. And plus, he has a lot of fans in Taiwan and Japan. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure everyone's watching him.
So Sandy just took the most likely gold medalist and probably the earliest to compete too.
Earliest to compete.
So you're left with someone else. Who are you looking out for?
Easy. I've been talking about him this entire interview. It's Tang Chia-hong. You meet him, you see his performance now. He's going for it. He wants it. He wants it badly, and he's in a position to get it. Three gold medals. 3 World Cups this year, and the highest base score that anybody has ever seen. It's just going to be here. That's going to be key. But I think he and his coach have a very good strategy going in, and they have the experience. So I have confidence that they're going to perform well.
Leslie, you're going to be heading off to Paris. Best of luck heading over there. And Sandy, you're going to be reporting the Olympics from here in Taiwan. So looking forward to all the reports about the Olympics, about the Taiwanese athletes heading there. So thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it for Didn't Make the Cut. We'll see you in Paris and Taiwan, I guess.
I didn't get to talk about my cute kid. Oh,
What's your kid?
the fencer.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't say that he's really cute. Did
Do you really want that
Okay,
out
no.
there?
I'm just joking.
Is that kosher?
I'm just joking.